Hello and welcome to the Fun Going Fast channel. I'm excited about today's video. This is my 2008 Yamaha Raptor 700R SE that I picked up for $2,700 a few months ago. It had certainly been neglected a bit and it needed some TLC, nothing major mechanical, but I want to show you guys everything. I want to talk about everything that I did to it, do a quick review of that, and then we'll do the unveiling, show you what it looks like now, and let you know everything I've paid for it time-wise, and then how much I'm into it total versus where I started out. If you guys think this is worth it, if you got a good deal or not. So let's get started. So as you can see from the original videos, this thing definitely needed some love. It had been sitting under a covered deck for a little while, but it had been multiple years since it had been washed and received any kind of maintenance whatsoever. Kind of been abused a little bit, to be honest. So I was and when I went up to pick it up, the guy said it was a 2017 and it ended up being a 2008. He said he bought it brand new, but he was probably 22, so I'd say his dad or grandfather probably bought it new and ended up giving it to him. I do think at least it stayed in the family, but really nice guy, but it definitely was significantly neglected. So first thing I did, we give it a good pressure wash and wipe down all the plastics with the Mr. Clean Sponge. Mr. Clean Sponge really is incredible for getting the streaks marks off and whatever dirt and grease that you can. The tires obviously were just done and didn't hold air, so I put new Sun F tires on it all the way around. That's the one thing I paid for. I paid 84 bucks for a tire place to change those out for me. I took the wheels off and pressure washed them, painted both sides, gave them a couple of coats of flat black spray paint and then a couple of coats of epoxy black spray paint, so hopefully they'll have a little bit of a thicker coating and that'll hold up. The chain, you could put 2 fists under the chain and lift it up off the swing arm. It hadn't been adjusted or oiled, it was super rusty, so I did new front and rear sprockets and brand new chain. Changed that out. Also, I took off the heel guards and the front bumper. They were looked pretty terrible, and gave those a good wash, and then painted those, put them back on, put all new hardware on. Where I didn't have new hardware, I used my Harbor Freight ultrasonic cleaner and Lysol toilet bowl cleaner, believe it or not, to clean a lot of bolts up, and those worked great. I put Nerf bars on. I've actually still found a pair of $50 new Nerf bars off of eBay. Painted the heel guards, like I said, and foot pegs. Put brand new grips on it. Obviously the grips that were on it were just toast. The parking brake selector was just dangling off the handlebar for some reason, so I just did a parking brake delete and got all that out of the way. I took a heat gun to the plastics, had a lot of white streak marks, tried to fix that up a little bit. I actually used motor oil, of all things, on the rear fenders. They look pretty terrible, and a commenter said to try that. That's what they used to use, so so far so good. And I put some silicone SC1 spray over top of them, so hopefully it won't be too sticky and have dirt stick to it, but pretty happy actually with the way that came out. The front A-arms had just mud and grease. They'd been way over greased, and that grease had been on there for so long that I pressure washed, used degreaser, used paint chipper or a paint scraper, which actually plastic one, which actually broke. Used brake parts cleaner finally and got that off, and so it looks 90% better. It's not completely off, and there was just so much grease, so I switched out. I changed all the A-arm bushings and the dust caps. The dust caps were toast. They were really worn, and also I think didn't do any favors. They had so much grease on them. So as you can see, there was a little bit of slop in the A-arms, and now you can see that that slop is gone, so pretty happy with that. Should make the handling and steering a lot better. The rear brake did not work. First I took the rear master cylinder off and tried to rebuild it with the rebuild kit, but maybe lack of skill or whatever, that didn't work. It still leaked, so I just brought a brand new OEM rear master cylinder, and then I bought an off-brand rear brake caliper. The brake caliper was completely seized, probably from where it hadn't been used in so long, and then the bolts were stripping when I was trying to get the bolts off to take a look at it and run the master cylinder, or the cylinder back in, the piston rather, and so I just said screw it and took that off and just ordered a new brake caliper, so everything works great with that now, so really happy with that. Seat cover looks a lot better. It's actually they put the aftermarket seat cover on top of the original OEM. They're both on there. So one of these days if I get bored, I'll take it off and take a look at it, but I don't know if you've ever changed out a seat cover. Taking all those staples off is a massive pain, so that'll be for a later day. But I used car interior cleaner and then leather cleaner, and I'm pretty happy with how that looks now, so I'm not too worried about that. Did an oil change. Of course, the oil filter cover stripped the bolt because it's been so long since they were off. Also, I completely zoned out, changed the oil before I even changed the filter, tried to fill it all the way back up with 2 quarts, so it overflowed everywhere, so I had to drain the fresh oil back out. But that stripped, so I had to get a new oil filter cover, put that on there, so not too big a deal there. Also, I put on some parts from Nice CNC, so we'll call them a sponsor of this video. These are all parts that were sent to me for free from Nice CNC. Their company has their own website, used to be on Amazon, and they make parts for ATVs in general, but specifically for Raptors. A lot of CNC milled stuff and custom stuff. I've got a new gas cap, mine's toast. This is kind of blingy, but it's a new oil tank dipstick. Looks kind of cool. And I've got new brackets for my fenders, the rear fenders, because they're rusted and gross and toasted. So thanks to CNC for sending me this. Everything seems to be really nice build quality. So after all that rambling, let's take a look at it and see how it turned out. So here we are. Let's do we'll do a quick slow walk around, and then I'll do another quick mention. So I wouldn't call it a brand new quad, but I feel like this is a pretty significant improvement from the way it looked before, and I'm excited to get it out, get it on the trail. So as you can see from front, took these guys off, repainted them. Still got the gunk you can see here. Couldn't get that off, but it still looks a lot better than it did. Still significant improvement. These guys are solid now. All that play's gone, so that's good. Cleaned up the plastics, hit it with some silicone spray. Wheels look way better compared to what they looked like before. Hopefully they'll hold up pretty good. Pretty happy with these $50 Nerf bars, not too shabby. New grips. Handlebar looks so much better. It was pretty trash and rusted, so really happy with the way that turned out. Seat looks a lot better, so it still fits a little weird because it's layered up with 2 seat covers. I may take a look at that at some point, but not too worried about it right now. Here's our new rear OEM master cylinder. Brakes that actually work, that's exciting. Got these all painted, new hardware, and painted the foot pegs. That was pretty rusty. Cleaned up the rear muffler, actually used some barkeeper friend and scrubbed it down, and also the rear swing arm, and that helped it out. It looks a lot better than it did. I may try and do a little more. I need to take a little CLR and get some of the rust off of the rear axle, but overall it's pretty good. You can see the new off-brand rear caliper. So overall looks pretty good. New chain and sprockets. That's still a little loose, got to make that adjustment, but a lot better. See the rear plastics with the engine oil and the heat gun. And then I'll go over real quick. So here's the CNC rear grab bar. Looks a lot better than the one that was on there before. Seems powder coated and really well made, and everything bolted up. But does, like I said, there's just a little bit of a give on the rear plastic there. New CNC case covers. That one was pretty scratched up, so happy to have replaced that. A little bling there. Really nice rear, the oil dipstick. And really well-made gas cap. Thanks to CNC for sending that stuff over. They had a big hole right here. Looked like they probably had aftermarket exhaust and it melted a hole, so I put duct tape underneath it. Took some JB Weld and put that over it, and then hit it with some red spray paint. Yes. So again, I paid $2,700 for it, and all in, I paid $748 for all the parts I've used. That's not counting spray paint and some hardware I had, and about $200 worth of free CNC parts. So out of pocket I'm at a grand total of $3,458. I feel like I could probably sell it for at least $3,900 to $4,000, so I could get my money back and a little more. But let me know if you think this was a good deal, if it was worth it or not. And I'll leave a link below in the description if you want to order any of those parts, and you'll be able to get a little bit of a discount. Thanks for watching.